Hey there YouTube, welcome back to the Golden Teacher channel. Why is this channel called the Golden Teacher, you may ask? Let's just say, I love golden teachers. Now on a serious note, what I would like to discuss today is lucid dreaming with the intention of improving the quality of your consciousness. So lucid dreaming, I'm sure many of you are well aware of what lucid dreaming is at this point, so I need not go too much into that. But for those of you who, for whatever reason, have no idea what I'm talking about when I say lucid dreaming, it's pretty much the experience of waking up in your dream, right? So rather than just going to sleep and just having some vague experience in which you're not in control, when you lucid dream, you have control, just like you would in your waking reality. But then again, there could be a lucid dream in which you're not exactly in control, but for the most part, lucid dreaming, when someone says lucid dream, they mean that you're aware of the fact that you're dreaming, right? So it's not just about the dream experience being like clear and crisp. It's about being aware to the point of being able to interact with things, the dream images, consciously. All right? So lucid dreaming, what makes it so interesting is that it turns our entire conception of what reality is and what constitutes it on its head. Reality. According to science, reality or truth is that which can be observed by our senses and also reproduced in laboratory settings with the help of scientific instruments. Our entire scientific epistemology, which is the study of knowledge, lies in that which can be verified by our senses and reproduced in laboratory settings. Okay? Using the scientific method. All right? Okay. So, reality. What is real and what is true? It's true that I am sitting here speaking to this computer screen. It's true that you are watching this video. But at the same time, how do we know that you're not dreaming right now? I say it like that because dreams are often dismissed as illusory. But if you think closely, or if you look closely at your dreams, you'll see that your dreams beg the question of, well, if my dream experience isn't real, then how can I say that my waking experience is real? Because think about it. When you're laying there asleep, it can be observed that you're sleeping and that you're unconscious of the world around you. That is, you're not up and interacting with the world around you. And yet, you can be having an experience, an entire sensory experience in which you're interacting with beings that have their own volition in environments as vast as the open sea and the sky, with interesting, detailed just scenes, but none of that can be observed from the outside. So that's what makes it so mind-blowing and just begs the question of what is actually real. Okay. So lucid dreaming, right? the most interesting thing about lucid dreams is that when you have this sensory experience in your dream, you have the experience of there being a self, a subject, perceiving the objects, perceiving, like things outside of yourself. Like there is an experience of inner versus outer. How is that so when you're inside, but you're having the experience of inner versus outer? So to make this more clear, I'm going to read an excerpt from this book titled Dream Yoga by Andrew Holecek, which I highly recommend. And it reads, "From Insight to Outsight" is a section that I'm reading. It says, "One of the most beautiful aspects of dream yoga is that it leads to the discovery of a sacred world. Here's how this magical discovery comes about. When you're in a dream, there seems to be a subject, you, perceiving an object, the dream. There's an unquestioned sense that the dream somehow appears on the screen of your mind, and you're sitting somewhere in this theater of the mind watching it. The screen and the dream images seem to be out there, and you're somewhere deeper in here. But take a closer look. Examine your dream experience from the perspective of waking consciousness. Look at the double delusion from the perspective of the primary delusion, and you'll discover that sense of duality to be illusory." So let that marinate for a second. So in waking reality, we have this experience, this duality, experience of duality, like built into our nervous system, right? Like you can't help that you feel that there is an I perceiving that or those or them or you, like you can't help that. But when you think about the fact that you have the exact same experience in deep sleep in which you're unconscious of the world around you, that turns the entire conception of reality and what is true on its head. So I would highly encourage you to see for yourself, become more curious about your dreams and observe what your experience is like in dreaming. Heck, and while you're at it, become more curious and observe what your experience is like in waking reality. And compare the experiences, because then you'll find that they're both just fleeting experiences that are equally as real. I mean, in your dream, you can fall in love, you can fight, you can have a traumatic experience, which we call nightmares, and you can carry that trauma into your waking reality, and vice versa. You can have a traumatic experience in waking life, or fall in love in waking life, or fight, or do whatever in waking life, and have a dream about that. So, that is quite something to think about and consider. So, moving on, there's something that I think is really cool. So, when you lucid dream, I mean, it's cool to like fly. I highly encourage that, like flying and going into the sea and doing everything you want to do. I highly encourage that for your first few lucid dreams, because it'll encourage you to keep up with the practice. But once you really get into the practice, there is something that you have to experience. There is the opportunity to experience what it's like to transcend the self and just see that there is no such thing as a self. There's no such thing as inner and outer. And this experience is called non-duality by the Buddhists, among other people out there. So the technique for inducing the experience of non-duality is simple. So when you're lucid in a dream, what you do is you close your dream eyes and imagine yourself sinking into the ground, which you will do because it's a dream. So you just feel yourself sink and just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And there comes a point where the feeling of there being a self vanishes, and all there is this space. That all there exists is space. In my experience with this, there was just complete darkness, but this weird feeling, expansive feeling of there just being infinite space. And this humming, like it's not a sound, but it just seemed like just a humming space. And it was the most beautiful, transcendental experiences I've ever had, because the sense of duality is not there. And this is what I imagine it is like in death, when the experience of self versus other is snatched away, and all there is all there is. And this made it more clear to me how meditation, which is just observing your experience, can prepare you for death. Because in deep meditation, the sense of there being a self, it starts to disappear, as like your feeling of your body starts to become really fuzzy, as you just feel just the throbs and just the tingles and just the sensations of being alive. It just makes the boundaries just disappear, like you don't feel the form of your body. And this is how I believe lucid dreaming can improve the quality of your consciousness, because it awakens you to the fact that there is no such thing as inner and outer, that is a false dichotomy, and that all there is all there is. There's this interesting thought experiment that I read not long ago. This isn't about lucid dreaming. This is kind of a side note, but it's relevant because this is about transcending the sense of self, essentially. So when you close your eyes and you think of a memory, you can recall a memory of, I don't know, say just talking to your grandmother and, I don't know, eating some popcorn with her and watching TV or something. I don't know, anything. You can choose any memory, right? So you have this memory. But if you think about the memory itself, right? And think about how the memory is held in your brain, right? And just imagine zooming into your brain, right? And going to the hippocampus. I mean, apparently, our memories are centralized in the function of the hippocampus. So if you imagine yourself zooming into the hippocampus of the brain and going further into that and seeing the neurons there, and going further into that and seeing the molecules they're made of, and going further into that and seeing the atoms and further into quarks and further in as deep as you want to go. But what you'll see is that your memory is encrypted into the atoms, which do not belong to you, but are a part of this field. The field. The field. And that in itself can reveal how your sense of self is an illusion, and that you are not a you. You are this. You are a part of this. And that is all. So I would highly encourage you to try lucid dreaming and get into meditation to improve the quality of your consciousness and to awaken to the fact that although reality seems to be this stable thing in which there are subjects and objects, you'll see that reality is much more fluid, and that there is no self, and there is no subject and object, and that this is all there is. And on that note, I'm going to end this video. Wait, before I end this video, for those of you who have never lucid dreamed before, I'm going to share with you an easy technique for doing it, which I got from this book. Highly recommend this book. This is called using dream signs. Some of you may be familiar with this from watching Inception, or I don't know, just doing research on lucid dreaming. It's one of the most common techniques and the easiest to use. So it's called using a dream sign. It can be anything, but the easiest thing is to use something that is a part of you. I like to use my hand. So what you do is, at random moments in the day, you just stop, you pause, and you look at your hand and you observe the detail, just all the lines, the calluses, and just all the details of your hand. And then you take your hands out of your visual field and you question with all of you, am I dreaming? And then you bring your palm slowly back into your visual field. And if you're dreaming, the details of your hand will be different. If you're not, they will be the same. The thing is, once you get into the habit of doing this, you will actually start to do it in your dreams. And when you do it in your dreams, at least in my experience, I immediately become lucid. And that's when the fun begins. Yeah, so give it a try. And yeah, if you end up having a lucid dream, experiencing non-duality, or just have some thoughts or experiences you just want to share, please leave some comments below. And thanks for tuning in to the Golden Teacher channel. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. Look forward to connecting with you. Whoops.